close your eyes or let them grow heavy and just breathe right now, wherever you are. Whatever is sitting on your chest, whatever you have been carrying into this moment, I want you to put it down for a little while, just for right now. You do not have to figure anything out in this moment. You do not have to have the answers. You do not have to know what comes next. This is a space just for you. And tonight, or today, wherever this finds you, we are going to talk about something that takes real courage to receive. We're going to talk about what it means to let God redirect you, not fix you, not scold you, not push you back to where you started, but redirect you, guide you, turn you, shift you into something that your own plans never could have imagined for you. Stay with me, breathe, and let this be a moment of real rest for your heart. There is a moment most of us know. Some of you are living in it right now. It is the moment when the thing you were counting on falls apart. The door you were walking toward closes. The plan you built with your own hands, on your own timeline, just stops working. Maybe it was a relationship. You gave it everything. You showed up. You tried. You held on longer than anyone else would have. And still, it ended. Or changed beyond recognition. And the version of your life you had been picturing, with that person in it, just disappeared. You were left standing in the wreckage of a future that no longer exists. And nobody tells you how to grieve something that never actually happened. Nobody gives you language for the loss of a dream. Maybe it was a career, a position, a business you poured yourself into. You sacrificed sleep for it. You gave up weekends. You took risks and made bets and told yourself this was the one. And then it just did not work. The doors closed. The money ran out. The timing was off. Or something happened that you never saw coming, and suddenly everything you had built was gone. And along with the business went a piece of your identity, a piece of the story you had been telling yourself about who you were. Maybe it was a move, a plan, a vision you had for your future that felt so clear and so right. You could see it. You could feel it. You had already started living in your mind the life you were going to build, and somewhere along the way, that vision got interrupted, rerouted, and you found yourself standing in the middle of a life that looks nothing like what you planned, nothing like what you prayed for, nothing like what you believed was coming. And in that place, there is a grief that people do not always talk about, the grief of the detour, the ache of the unexpected, the disorientation of looking around and realizing, this is not where I thought I would be, and even more quietly, more privately, the fear that maybe this is where you will stay. I want to sit with you in that for a moment, because I think sometimes we rush past it. We try to spiritualize the pain too quickly. We jump to the lesson before we have allowed ourselves to feel the loss. We put a bow on something that still hurts. And that is not healing. That is bypassing. And God is not asking you to bypass your pain. He is not asking you to pretend the detour did not cost you anything. He meets you right there in the middle of the wreckage, in the confusion, in the grief. And he does not leave. But here is what I also want you to hold tonight. Sometimes the detour is the direction. Sometimes what looked like a door closing was God protecting you from a room you were never supposed to be in. Sometimes the interruption is the invitation. And sometimes the plan that fell apart was never God's plan to begin with. It was just the best your limited vision could see from where you were standing. But God sees the whole map. You only ever had one street. I want to talk to you about the gap between where you thought you were going and where God is actually taking you. Because most of us make our plans with complete confidence. We set our intentions, we map out our goals, we work hard, we make sacrifices. And there is nothing wrong with any of that. Having vision is a beautiful thing. Desire is a beautiful thing. Ambition, when it is rooted in the right things, is not something to be ashamed of. But sometimes, in the middle of all our planning, we forget to leave room for God to speak. We map out every road and forget that He might have a route we have never even considered. We fill in every blank on our timeline and forget that His timing and our timing are rarely the same thing. We get so invested in our vision that we stop being open to His. And then when His direction looks different from ours, we interpret that difference as punishment. We think He is angry with us. We think we did something wrong. We think we missed our moment. Or worse, we decide he is simply not listening. We throw our hands up and say, I prayed about this. I trusted. I did everything right. And look where I ended up. But what if the divergence is not punishment? What if it is precision? What if the closed door is not God ignoring your prayer, but God honoring something deeper in you than what you even knew to ask for? What if the delay is not rejection, but preparation? What if the reroute is not a mistake, but a mercy designed specifically for this version of your life? I know that is not always easy to receive when you are in the middle of it. I know that when you are confused and exhausted and wondering how on earth things went this way, it can feel impossible to believe that there is something beautiful on the other side of all this disruption. It can feel like a cliché, like something people say when they do not know what else to say. But I want you to think about a time, even just one time in your life, when something went differently than you planned. And eventually, you could see why. When you could look back and say, I see it now. I understand why that did not work. I can see why I did not get what I wanted back then. I can see why I was led somewhere else. And I am grateful. Even though it hurt in the moment, I am grateful. Most of us have at least one of those moments in our story, probably more than one. And those moments are evidence. They are proof that the redirection, even when it was painful, was working for you, was working on your behalf, was building something that could not have been built any other way. Tonight I want to invite you to let that be true again. Even now, even here, even in this season that does not make sense yet, even before you can see the reason, even before the picture comes into focus, let this be one of those moments you will look back on and say, that was God. That was His hand. That detour was the most important part of the journey. If this is resonating with you tonight, if you are in a season of redirection and you need something to return to again and again when the path feels uncertain, I want you to explore our full collection of faith-based meditations. Every single one is designed to meet you exactly where you are. The link is in the description below. Take a look when you are ready. There is something there for every season. Let us talk about what redirection actually feels like from the inside, because I think we have a distorted picture of it sometimes. We imagine that when God redirects us, it will be obvious and clear. We expect a neon sign, a burning bush, something unmistakable. We expect it to feel gentle and peaceful and certain, and sometimes it does feel like that. Sometimes the redirect comes as a quiet nudge, a sense of peace in one direction and unease in another. A small knowing that says, not this way, this way. And when it comes like that, it is almost beautiful, almost easy to follow. But other times, the redirection is louder than anything we were prepared for. It comes through disruption, through doors slamming, through relationships ending in ways we did not choose, through things being taken that we thought were permanently ours, through the collapse of systems and structures we had built our sense of security around. And in those moments, it does not feel like guidance. It feels like loss. It feels like chaos. It feels like the ground shifting underneath you and nothing being where you left it. Redirection can feel like failure before it feels like freedom. It can feel like confusion before it feels like clarity. It can feel like the end before it turns into a beginning. And if you are in that in-between space right now, that liminal place where you do not know what the next chapter holds and you cannot see what God is doing, and everything feels uncertain, I want you to know something very important. You are not lost. You are being led. And there is a world of difference between those two things. Lost means no one knows where you are. Lost means there is no path and no plan. Lost means you have been forgotten. But being led, being guided through territory you do not recognize yet, that is something completely different. That means there is a hand on your shoulder even when you cannot feel it. That means there is a purpose in the process even when the process is painful. That means the confusion you are feeling right now is not evidence of abandonment. It is evidence of a journey. Breathe that in. You are not lost. You are being led. And being led sometimes means being brought low before you are lifted. Being led sometimes means being emptied before you are filled. Being led sometimes means walking through a long stretch of quiet until you realize the quiet is not empty. The quiet is holy. And God is doing something in the silence that he could not have done in the noise, something slower, something deeper, something that required the stillness you would never have chosen for yourself. Here is something I want to name honestly tonight. And I want to name it gently, because I think most of us have lived this, and some of us are living it right now. Sometimes the thing that stands between us and where God is trying to take us is our grip, our white-knuckled hold on the plan we made, the version of our life we decided on. The outcome we decided was the right one. The person, the position, the identity, the way things were supposed to go. We hold on so tightly. And God, in his patience and his love, he lets us. He does not tear things from our hands. He is not violent with us. He is not cruel. But he will allow us to stay in a season longer than necessary, simply because we will not let go. He will let us exhaust every option of our own plan before we finally exhaust ourselves enough to look up and say, "Okay, I cannot do this on my own. I need you to show me something different." And I want to ask you something gently right now. Is there something you're holding on to that you know, somewhere deep in you, was not meant to be permanent? Is there a version of your life you've been clinging to that no longer fits who you are becoming? Is there an identity, a relationship, a way of doing things, a story you have been telling yourself for years that God has been trying to lovingly pry from your hands? Not because he wants you to be empty, but because he cannot fill what is already full. Letting go does not mean giving up. Please hear this clearly, because I think we confuse these two things more than we realize. Letting go does not mean you failed. Letting go does not mean you did not try hard enough. Letting go does not mean you did not love deeply enough. Sometimes letting go is the bravest, most faithful thing you can do, because it says, I trust you more than I trust my own plan. I believe you more than I believe my own timeline. I'm choosing your wisdom over my certainty. And that is not weakness. That is one of the most courageous forms of faith there is. Open your hands right now if you can, just for a moment. Let them rest, palms up, and let this moment be a small act of release. Whatever is in your hands right now, whatever you have been gripping so tightly, you can breathe it out. Not because it does not matter. It does matter. But because it matters so much that you want it to be held by someone whose hands are stronger than yours. Someone who can carry what you have been straining under for far too long. I want to talk about the most beautiful things, not the things we planned, not the things we built according to our own blueprint. I want to talk about the things that found us when we were not looking, when we were in the middle of a detour, when the original plan had fallen apart and we were somewhere we had not chosen. Because I think if we are honest, so many of the most beautiful things in our lives came through redirection. The friendship that started out of an unexpected conversation in a place you only ended up because something else did not work out. The job that came through after the one you really wanted did not happen and turned out to be 10 times better than what you had asked for. The city you moved to after things fell apart somewhere else. That became the place where you grew more than you ever imagined. The version of yourself that emerged on the other side of the hardest season of your life. Someone you are proud of in ways you never could have been without going through what you went through. None of us plan for those things. None of us put them on a vision board. They come to us through the unplanned, through the unasked for, through the redirect. And yet they become some of our most treasured experiences, some of the people, places, and versions of ourselves that we hold most dear. I think about the roads I have traveled that felt like wrong turns at the time, the seasons that felt like setbacks, the chapters that felt like they were taking me further from where I wanted to be. And when I look back at those seasons from where I'm standing now, I can see with a clarity I absolutely did not have in the moment. I can see what was being built in me during those years. I can see what was being removed from me, what was being refined. I can see the purpose that was quietly at work underneath all the disruption. And I am so grateful, so genuinely, deeply grateful that I did not get everything I asked for, because what I got instead was richer, deeper, more true to who I actually am and who I was being called to become. The version of my life that I am living now could not have been built from the version of myself that I was when I had my hands full of the plan I was trying to protect. That is what God does in the redirect. He does not just move you, He shapes you. He does not just change your direction, He transforms you in the changing. He uses the journey, including every unexpected twist, to make you into someone you could not have become if everything had gone according to your original plan. The detour is not a waste. The detour is the making of you. If this is touching something real in you tonight, I want to ask you to share it. Think of someone you know who is in the middle of their own detour right now. Someone who is struggling to make sense of a season that does not seem to make sense. Send them this. Drop the link in a message. Text it to a friend. You may not know exactly what they need to hear, but this might say something that you have been trying to find words for. Share it. You never know how much it could mean. Let us talk about trust, because trust is easy when you can see where you are going. Trust is easy when the plan is working and the vision is clear and the momentum is with you and things are moving in the direction you hoped. But real trust, the kind that changes who you are on the inside, the kind that deepens your faith in ways that nothing else possibly can. That trust is always built in the dark. It is built in the seasons when you cannot see what is ahead, when the path is not lit past the next step, when you do not know how it ends, when you do not know what comes next, when all you have to go on is the quiet belief, the choice to believe that you are not walking alone. That is the hardest kind of trust there is, and it is also the most sacred, because in those seasons, when you choose to keep moving even though you cannot see the full picture, when you choose to believe even though the evidence around you is confusing and contradictory, when you choose to say out loud or even just in the quiet of your heart, I still trust the one who is leading me, even though I do not understand where I'm being led. Something profound happens in you. A depth develops that prosperity never could have produced. A rootedness forms that comfort never could have created. A settled inner knowing, a faith that has been tested and is still standing, that becomes the most unshakable thing in your entire life. That kind of faith cannot be taught in a classroom or absorbed from a book. It is forged, in seasons exactly like the one you might be in right now. And I want you to hear this clearly. The goal of being redirected is not just to get you somewhere new. The goal is also to make you someone new along the way. The destination matters. But so does the transformation that happens between here and there. God is not just interested in your arrival, He is intimately present in your process. And sometimes the most important and most sacred work He is doing in your life is happening in the seasons that feel the most uncomfortable. In the gaps, in the detours, in the waiting, in the in-between spaces where everything feels suspended and nothing seems to be moving. So, if you're in a season right now that does not make sense, if your prayers feel like they are hitting the ceiling, if you are exhausted from waiting and wondering and trying to figure out what is happening, I want you to consider the possibility that God is not absent from your confusion. He is present in it. He is building something in the middle of the disruption that could not have been built any other way. And the confusion is not evidence that He has left you. It is evidence that you are in the middle of something bigger than you can currently see. There is something that happens when we truly release control. And I mean truly, not the kind of release where we hand things over and then quietly reach back and take them 2 days later when we get anxious. Not the kind of surrender where we say the words, but our hands are still clenched. I mean the kind of release that is bone deep, the kind that says, I am done trying to orchestrate this. I am done trying to force this into a shape it does not want to take. I am done trying to make happen what is not happening naturally. I'm going to stop pushing and start listening. That kind of release is terrifying for most of us, because we have been taught, directly or indirectly, that control is the same as safety, that if we plan enough and prepare enough and think hard enough about every possible outcome, we can manage what happens to us. We can protect ourselves. And while preparation and effort and wisdom are all good and important things, there is a place where our drive to control becomes something else. It becomes a subtle form of fear dressed up as responsibility. Fear that things will not work out if we are not managing every detail. Fear that we will miss something if we are not always pushing. Fear that rest is the same as giving up. Fear that trust is naive. Fear that if we loosen our grip even a little, everything will fall apart. And so we tighten, and we manage, and we exhaust ourselves trying to hold things together that were never fully ours to hold in the first place. But releasing control is not the same as giving up. Trusting God with the outcomes of your life is not passivity. It is one of the most active and intentional and courageous choices a person can make, because it requires you to lay down the thing that feels most like security, which is your sense of control, and pick up something that cannot be seen or measured or put on a spreadsheet, which is faith. And when you do that, when you genuinely open your hands and say, "Have your way," something shifts, not always externally right away. The circumstances may not change immediately, but internally, there is a peace that begins to settle in where anxiety used to live. There is a spaciousness that opens up where tension used to crowd everything out. There is a capacity to receive that was not there when your hands were full of the thing you were white-knuckling. And in that open space, God can begin to do what he could never do when you were trying to do it all yourself. I do not know exactly where you are in your story tonight. I do not know what season you are in, what you have been through, what you are still waiting for, what you have had to let go of, what you are still holding on to, what kind of redirect you have been living through, what kind of grief or confusion or exhaustion has been sitting with you in the quiet. But I know this without question. Wherever you are not at the end of your story. You have not been written off. You are not beyond reach. You are not too far gone or too tired or too broken or too complicated or too late. You are in the middle. And the middle is not a mistake. The middle is not dead space. The middle is where the shaping happens. It is where the roots go deep. It is where the character is formed. And it is where the redirect does some of its most important and most lasting work in you. When God redirects you, he is not saying your story is over. He is saying your story is not finished yet. He is saying there is more to be written. He is saying the chapter you are in right now is not the last chapter. And the door that just closed is making room for a door that has not yet opened. And the plan that fell apart is making room for one that is being built with a wisdom and a love that goes further than anything you could design for yourself. I want you to hold on to that, not as a cliche, not as something you say to get through the night, but as a living truth that you carry with you. The God who created you knows your name. He knows your heart. He knows what you have been hoping for. And he has not lost the thread of your story. He is not scrambling or confused or trying to figure out what to do with the mess you have made. He has always known. He has always had a plan. And the plan was never just to get you to a destination. The plan was to walk with you through every single step of the journey, to be present in the detour, to be faithful in the delay, to be at work in the disruption, and to bring you, in his timing, into exactly where you were always meant to arrive. Before we move into our final moments together, I want to make sure you know about our full library of faith-based content. If you have been looking for something to come back to regularly, something that will meet you wherever you are in your faith journey, the link is in the description below. We have meditations for seasons of waiting, seasons of healing, seasons of redirection, and so much more. Everything created with you in mind. Go take a look. We would love to have you as part of this community. Let us move into a place of stillness together now. Wherever you are, let your body settle a little more deeply. Let your shoulders drop away from your ears. Let the tension in your jaw soften. Let your hands rest open if they can, palms facing upward. We're going to breathe together, just a few slow, intentional breaths. And with each one, I want to invite you to release something and to receive something in return. Breathe in slowly now. And as you breathe in, receive this truth. You are held. You are known. You are loved. The one who created the universe knows your name, and he has not lost sight of where you are. And breathe out slowly and completely. And as you breathe out, let go of something you have been carrying. It does not have to be everything. Just one thing, one worry, one fear, one outcome you have been trying to control that was never fully yours to carry. Just let it go with the breath. Again, breathe in, and this time receive the gift of the detour. Receive the possibility that what felt like a wrong turn was actually the path, that what felt like loss was actually preparation, that the season you are in, however hard, is producing something in you that easier seasons never could have. And breathe out, releasing the grief of the plan that did not work out. Not because it did not matter, it mattered, but because you are beginning to trust, even if just a little, that what God is building is worth what you let go of to receive it. One more time. Breathe in, receiving the peace that comes with surrender, the quiet relief of open hands, the lightness that comes when you stop carrying what was never fully yours to carry in the first place. And breathe out with a yes, quiet, gentle, from the very center of you. Yes to the God who redirects. Yes to the path you cannot fully see. Yes to the story He is writing in and through your life. Yes. Have your way. Yes. I trust the redirect. Yes. I believe there is something beautiful and true on the other side of this. You have done something beautiful in this time together. You gave yourself permission to breathe, to be still, to release, to open your hands, to receive truth that your heart needed to hear. That is not a small thing. In a world that tells you to keep moving and keep grinding and keep pushing, choosing to stop and be still and trust, that is an act of profound courage and faith. I also want to acknowledge something. Wherever you are in your relationship with trust right now, it is okay. Maybe tonight you came in here feeling hopeful and the words landed softly. And maybe you came in here feeling frustrated and a little bit broken and it was hard to receive everything that was said. Both of those are valid. Trust is not something that happens all at once. It is something that grows in moments like this one, in the quiet, in the choosing, again and again, to show up and be honest with God about where you are. You do not have to arrive tonight. You just have to be here, and you are. That matters more than you know. The fact that you pressed play on this, the fact that you chose this space for your heart in the middle of everything you are carrying, that says something about who you are. That says something about the faith that is alive in you even in the middle of a hard season. And I want you to honor that in yourself, not with pride, but with gratitude, because the same one who placed that desire in your heart to seek and to rest and to trust, He sees it, and He is faithful to meet it. As you move back into your day or settle into your night, I want to leave you with this. The redirect is not the rejection. The detour is not the dead end. The disruption is not the destruction. God is at work in all of it, in every closed door and unexpected turn. In every season that looked nothing like what you planned, He has been present in all of it, and He will continue to be. His faithfulness does not depend on your understanding of what He is doing. It is simply who He is. Let Him redirect you. Let Him reroute the plan. Let Him write chapters you never could have written for yourself. Because what He writes is always worth reading. You are loved. You are held. You are exactly where you need to be, on the way to where He is taking you. Rest well, or move gently back into your day, and carry this with you wherever you go. The one who redirects also leads, and He will never ever lead you somewhere He has not already prepared for you. Until next time, be gentle with yourself, and trust the redirect. If this meditation blessed you today, will you subscribe so you never miss a new release? New faith-based meditations drop regularly, and every single one is created with your heart in mind. Hit subscribe right now, and while you are here, leave a comment below and tell me what season of life you are in. Are you in a season of redirection, of waiting, of releasing something? I read every comment, and I want to hear from you. And if you are ready to go deeper, the link to our full meditation library is in the description. Everything you need is right there waiting for you. I will see you in the next one.